Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Chairman Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Sage, challenges EFCC to clear legal roadblocks hindering its investigation of alleged financial misconduct in Rivers State. Hope Democratic Party asks Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to stop the planned swearing-in of President Muhammadu Buhari on May 29th. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives reject bill seeking to regulate international trips for medical treatment by public officers. And 6 protesters and a security operative die in clashes in Sudan's capital, Khartoum.
On business news tonight, Bureau for Public Enterprises says privatization of Nigeria's healthcare sector will reduce medical tourism and boost the country's economy.
On sports news, John Mikel Obi returns to the Super Eagles squad after over 11 months away as coach Gernot Rohr invites 25 players to camp for this year's African Nations Cup.
As Leah Sharibu, the lone Dapchi schoolgirl still in Boko Haram captivity, turns 16 today, friends, family and civil society groups mark her birthday in Abuja.
The chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Issa Sage, is questioning the Federal High Court order of perpetual injunction restraining the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, from investigating, arresting or interrogating Rivers State government officials suspected of massive corruption. He's asking the EFCC to clear every roadblock in order for it to investigate allegations of financial misconduct in the state, as well as bring sanity to the system. Our correspondent Gloria Mezweke reports.
It's a one-day high-level summit on corruption attended by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, in collaboration with the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, in Abuja. At this event, the chairman of PACAC, Professor Issa Sage, pointed out cases with grey areas the EFCC should be tackling to stamp out corruption. He cites a Federal High Court judgment stopping the EFCC from investigating Rivers State government.
The UK government insists that the EFCC does not possess the power to investigate the financial transaction of the state. According to the governor, before the FCC could investigate the Rivers State government, it must first vacate the Federal High Court judgment that restrained it from investigating the finances of the state during the Odili era. So there's really no excuse why the FCC has been quiescent and has turned its back on this very critical action which it should have taken to open the doors towards investigating all governments in this country and government officials, states and federal, who have been guilty of massively looting the resources of this country.
Professor Sage equally bemoaned the lack of synergy between security agencies.
What about the Ministry of Justice? All these negative activities have equally negatively affected the fight against corruption and the success of the federal government in this major plank of its election into office.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, corroborates the chairman's stance by calling for concerted efforts to tackling the menace.
The final conclusion is that Nigeria's 2030 GDP can be up by at least $534 billion if we reduce corruption. So really, it doesn't matter how much revenue a country makes or how transformative its plans are. If it allows corruption to thrive, this will ensure that the majority of people do not benefit from all of the revenues or all of whatever it is that the country is able to produce, or simply truncate the plans of the nation.
The federal government recognizes that there is still a lot to be done to win the fight against corruption, but underscores that a multi-sectoral approach will be key to dealing with the scourge in the nearest future. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Despite the president's anti-corruption stand, one of the new political parties, Hope Democratic Party, has asked the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to stop the planned swearing-in of President Muhammadu Buhari slated for May 29th. The party says it will be unfair and unjust to inaugurate President Buhari for a second term on the grounds that the validity of the election that produced him has been challenged at the tribunal. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor reports.
Lawyers waiting for the commencement of the pre-trial hearing in the petition filed by the Hope Democratic Party, challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari. There was exchange of banters ahead of the court's proceedings. At the proceedings, Hope Democratic Party announced that it had filed 3 applications, one of which is seeking the order of court restraining President Muhammadu Buhari from being sworn in for a second term on May 29, 2019. In the motion brought pursuant to Section 1, Section 6, Section 139 and Section 239 of the 1999 Constitution and Section 26 of the Electoral Act, Hope Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, Chief Ambrose Oworu, argued that unless President Buhari is stopped from being inaugurated, he will foist a state of hopelessness on the tribunal. The party also prayed for an order stopping the Chief Justice of Nigeria from administering the oath of office and oath of allegiance on President Buhari until all court actions against him are determined. They therefore insisted that a restraining order by the tribunal is appropriate to preserve the subject matter of their petition. When the counsel to the petitioners, Mr. Oliver Eya, sought to move the application, the respondents in the matter, which include President Buhari, the All Progressive Congress and INEC, claimed that they have not been served and will need time to respond to the application when served.
We are seeking the injunction so that the parties, the second respondent can do the proper thing. When the first respondent is sworn in, we can use his power as the president of the federation to maybe in one way or the other, the petitioners may be intimidated or otherwise.
Justice Zainab Bulkachua, in a short ruling, announced that all application in respect of the petition will be heard on May 22nd. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has described the suit taken for his removal, along with some 53 others from the National Assembly on account of their defection, as incompetent. He argued through his counsel, Mr. Sunday Ame, the Federal High Court in Abuja, that an advocacy group, Legal Aids Assistance Project, LEADAP, instituted the case without any local standing. He insists that LEADAP is not a political party or a member of the National Assembly, and as such, cannot cry for the political parties where the federal lawmakers decamped from. Senator Akpabio referred to what he describes as an uncommon situation within the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, which compelled him to opt for the All Progressives Congress. In another political seat, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the September 2018 governorship elections in Osun State, Senator Adeleke Ademola, has denied forging the West African Examination Council certificate he presented to INEC to secure clearance for the poll. Senator Adeleke told the appeal court in Abuja that the certificate attached to his nomination form, CF001, was lawfully issued to him and as confirmed by WAEC in its affidavit submitted to the FCT High Court sitting in the Buhari area of Abuja. He therefore asked the court to set aside the judgment of Justice Uthman Musa of an Abuja High Court, which erroneously held that his certificate was forged, as alleged by 2 chieftains of the All Progressives Congress. Senator Adeleke's counsel, Kainde Ogunwumiju, told the 3-man panel of the court presided over by Justice Adamu Jaro that what he presented to the electoral body was exactly what the examination body presented before the lower court as ordered by Justice Musa. Counsel to the 2 respondents, Mr. Joel Akomolafe, however, urged the court to uphold the judgment of the lower court, adding that trial court had dismissed Adeleke and the PDP's motion challenging jurisdiction. The 3-man panel, after taking arguments from counsels, subsequently reserved judgment on a date to be communicated to the parties in the matter. Two chieftains of the All Progressives Congress, Wahab Rahim and Adam Habib, had dragged Adeleke to court before the governorship elections, accusing him of not possessing the requisite educational qualification to contest the office of governor. Now from the law court to the lawmakers, a bill seeking to amend the National Health Act 2014 by regulating international trips for medical treatment by public officers has been rejected in the House of Representatives. Most lawmakers who spoke against the bill were of the opinion that it was discriminatory and breaches the rights of public officials. Our correspondent Larry Lassisi reports.
The arrival of the Speaker of the House of Representatives signals the commencement of plenary. The lawmakers consider the different legislative documents that are before them. One key legislation which was thoroughly debated is the one seeking to amend the National Health Act and regulate international medical trips by public officials. The bill had scaled second reading and only had to be passed in the Committee of the Whole. But right from the start, it appeared some lawmakers were not comfortable with the bill. The presiding officer invited the sponsor to withdraw the bill. He, however, made a case instead.
If those that will write the budget, those that will pass it, and those that were sent to the budget, the first, when they are not well, they hop on the first available flight out of this country. When are we ever going to manage the system that will benefit everybody? That's the point I'm trying to make, Mr. Chairman.
The bill then went through another second reading stage as lawmakers commenced a debate on the merits and demerits of the bill.
You think it's as simple as it is discriminatory. It's discriminatory. And the explanation you are trying to put forward to support the bill is the basis of development, which is not related to health alone.
If you look at the way that the bill has been drafted, the bill says that you seek approval if you're a public officer. The bill doesn't say that you only seek approval if you want to use public funds.
Yeah, that's what Any attempt by a National Health Act, which is an inferior legislation to the Constitution, to say you cannot travel outside Nigeria will be infringing on Section 41, subsection 1 of the Constitution.
The bill was eventually withdrawn. Other bills which almost suffered the same fate were the bill seeking to prohibit age discrimination against job seekers in federal government agencies and the bill seeking to establish the Nigerian Police Trust Fund. Eventually, the bill on age discrimination was deferred till the next legislative day, while the bill on the Nigerian Police Trust Fund scaled through and will now be due for third reading. Lanre Lassisi, Channels Television News.
President Buhari has challenged the incoming 9th Assembly to work towards a better working relationship with the executive for the benefits of the Nigerian people. President Buhari spoke during the breaking of the Ramadan fast with the leadership and members of the National Assembly at the State House in Abuja. He reminded the legislature of their responsibility to the electorate and to the nation.
Your principal task is to cooperate with the executive so that together we can fashion policies that will lift our people out of poverty and illiteracy. I appeal to the distinguished senators and honorable members to subordinate all personal interests and ambitions to the imperative of working for the common good of our people. Relations between the executive and the legislature were not the best in the 8th National Assembly. I sincerely hope each one of us will do his uttermost to ensure there is a better working relationship between these two arms of government in the 9th Assembly so that we can serve the people better. My doors are open to all of you who have genuine concerns or advice to improve the quality of governance and service delivery to our people.
In part two, after the break, U.S. mission to Nigeria suspends indefinitely interview waivers for visa renewals known as the Dropbox. Join us again.